Hi everyone, so today playing a game of Ancients in 28mm scale. This is the Roman invasion of Britain. Along this side of the table here we've got some Roman units. There are 8 units in total, 2 of which are auxiliaries, the rest Romans. On the other side of the table along there we've got the Celts, we've got 6 war bands, we've got 4 units of cavalry, we've got 2 units of chariots plus some slingers and some archers. For rules we're using Hail Caesar with a couple of house rules just to sort of better suit this size of table. The table is about 4 foot by 8 foot. So I've just done the first turn. This side of the table, this half, the Romans have been behaving themselves as you'd expect and formed up in nice orderly line here, which is great. The Celts also trundling forwards. I can imagine plenty of hollering and a yelling from the Celts at the hated Roman invaders. But again, all the Celts are sort of getting themselves into position. So this first turn, mostly movement this side of the board. Conversely, on this side of the board, again, the Romans, nice orderly line there. The Celts, on the other hand, the far side, they've advanced up their war bands and some chariots supported by cavalry, but in this part here, the I don't know what the war bands there are doing. I think the druid in charge of them isn't been able to keep control of them, and they've ignored all of his orders, so falling back. Just on some more movement, the Romans have managed to roll the blunder on their movement, and basically started marching to the right of the board there. I'm not sure what was going on there. No doubt there'll be trouble after the battle's done, find out. In complete disarray, the Celts, enthusiastically seizing this opportunity, have charged in their chariot, supported by some cavalry there, slamming into the flank of this unit of Romans here. So we'll do combat in a minute, see how that works out. They've also rushing headlong, taking advantage of this, eager to engage the Romans into their flank on this side of the board. And then on this side, just over here, just in shot, again a war band have charged into the Romans just there as well. Again, this side of the board, these Celts in the distance over there are trying to make amends for the last turn and are slowly creeping forwards, not really being able to make the space that they would ideally want, but they have got some a unit there with slings advancing, and no doubt hoping to pepper this unit with slingshot in the combat. Then over here we've got a war band of charge the auxiliaries, supported by a cavalry unit, and on the far edge of the board over here, just in shot over there, again chariots supported by cavalry slamming into the front of some Romans there. So just on combat, this side of the board here, the chariots and cavalry were able to win the combat, not surprisingly, because of the charging into the flank, and have pushed the Romans back towards their side of the board. Over in the distance over here, this combat over there, the actual Romans were able to fend off the charging Celts. The Romans have a much better armour than the Celts did, and even though the Celts were able to inflict a lot of hits, the armour really helped them there. So they actually won that combat round, but it was pretty much not effective enough for it to make a difference yet. And then on the other side of the board, pretty much a standoff between the Celts and the auxiliaries. Both sides been able to inflict the same amount of casualties to each other, and the chariots again got the upper hand of those Romans there, were able to push them back, and the Romans had to fall back. So just doing some more combat, the Celt chariots and the cavalry were able to win again and push the Romans further back towards their side of the board in that melee there. And then a little bit further along the board, the Romans were able to sort themselves out and turn round and face the oncoming ferocious looking Celts just from these units here. This combat over here, I'm just going to move the camera. This combat over here, the Romans were able to charge the Celts on their flank as well as being attacked from the front here. And in this combat, actually, the Romans inflicted enough casualties to break that Celt warband. I'm going to move them off the table in a second. A bit further along the table, these Romans here charged the slings, guys with slingers there. They were able to inflict a casualty as they were being charged, but in melee combat never really stood a chance, and they're actually broken, and then we're going to be removed from the board, and I'll remove them in a second. This combat here, the auxiliaries were able to actually push back the Celts, both their warband and their cavalry in one big swirling mass of melee combat, and were able to win that. So they're actually pushing the Celts back towards their side of the board. And finally, on the very edge of the flank here, the Celt chariots and cavalry were able to push to win and push back the Romans, who are in disorder now. So what we've got is a game that's with the ebbs and flows. We've got both the two extreme flanks. The Celts are able to push the Romans back, but in the centre, things are not looking quite so good for the Celts. So we'll play some more. So doing some more combat. This flank, which as I look at the board, my left flank, from the Roman player's point of view, the chariots and cavalry have been able to push the Romans further and further back. One more push and we'll cut them off the board, and that'll be that unit done for. Further up the board, the Celts have been able to beat the Romans in combat here. Romans just about clinging on. This combat here, though, the Celts, with some support from an archer unit there, have beaten the auxiliaries, and I'm going to remove them. That's why the two white dice are there to remind me. Combat right in the middle of the board. Celts charged the Romans. They were able to defeat this first unit in combat, and then I'll remove those, and then they will hit this supporting unit in combat, ready for the next turn. Overall, in the centre, actually, I think the game swung a little bit in favour of the Celts at the moment. Last turn, I thought the Romans were going to have it, but looks like the Celts have just nudging, as they've just defeated 2 units of Romans. So on this side of the board, the Celts were able to charge into the flank of the Romans. The Romans had beaten the sling unit and left themselves exposed, really, and the Celts took full advantage of that and slammed into their flank and inflicted quite significant casualties. But the Roman unit's still there. The auxiliaries, however, here, again, just been able to hold the Celts off. Took quite significant casualties. So, in fairness, so have the Celts on that particular maelstrom of melee just there. And then if we look at the very far right of the board here, again, the Celt chariots just pushing the Romans further and further back. Again, one more push back off the board, and that'll be them done. So to give you some sense of the board, after, I think this is about the end of turn 3, definitely the Celts are winning on both flanks, both the left flank and their right flank. Both sides, interestingly, have lost 2 units, and I would say overall the Celts are having the better time of it in the sort of centre and just off centre as well. So quite decisive combat. This side of the board, the left-hand side of the board, from the Romans' perspective, the chariots and cavalry were able to push the Romans off the board and thus defeat them. This unit, this melee here, swarm of melee, the Romans just about holding on. And then over to the side here, the Celts were able to defeat them last turn. So they're in their next go, they're going to be able to slam into this melee combat here. Centre of the board is pretty much a stalemate. Celts and Romans, vicious fighting. Celts just had the upper hand, but on the table, not decisive enough for it to make any difference. And then this side of the board, again, the Romans chariots pushed the Celt chariots pushed the Romans off the board, thus securing that very far flank. And the Celts defeated these auxiliaries here. I've got to just move them off the table now. And they're, to be honest with you, they're having the upper hand in this melee here. So it's looking like a Celtic victory, which makes a nice change actually for this game. but we'll do one more round, see how we get on. So I just finished up the last turn. And yeah, it's a Celtic victory. This side of the board, the Romans are in a really bit of a tight spot. And they've just been charged by the chariots and cavalry, and they're completely surrounded almost. And then as we move up the board, I'll try not to jolt the camera around too much. The actual Romans were able to hold the centre quite well, actually. It's about the one part of the battlefield they sort of did predominantly dominate. And then on this flank here, again, there's one Roman legion unit just there. And we've got numerous Celtic units, including chariots and a couple of war bands. So we're going to call the game. The final tally, the Romans lost 5 units and the Celts lost 2. So quite a decisive victory for the Celts, which does make a change. The last time I played this was back end of last year, and victory was to the Romans. However, I have since painted another unit of chariots and cavalry for the Celtic side there, so I think that might have swung it. So I best paint some more Romans. But yeah, it's a good fun game. Hail Caesar, played it quite a few times now, had it for years. We have our own house rules really, and I would say it's a game that is about moving toy soldiers around on the battlefield, rolling some dice and having some fun. We tend not to check the rule book too many times during play, call it at the moment, and might check the rule book afterwards and kind of learn that way. But yeah, it's a good fun game. Been playing this game a long time. I think in terms of figures, it's probably 300 Celts, I guess, and they outnumber the Roman figure-wise quite significantly. So yeah, I better paint some more Romans. Thanks for watching, as ever. Thank you. Bye.